Hi folks, in this short clip I'll illustrate how I built this presentation wind box. I was inspired by an article in the December 2014 Woodworkers Journal by Sandor Negaslancy. Sandor resawed all the wood from a redwood stump on his property. I'm not quite that ambitious. I used hard maple for the box and walnut for the inlays. As you can see, I modified the box's top design and the configuration of the lifting mechanism. After rough cutting the raw lumber to length for the top and the bottom, I ran the sections through the joiner. Once the sections were cleaned up, I cut slots for the biscuits. The glue-up process was pretty straightforward. I clamped a board on each side, top and bottom, to help assure that there would be no bowing. Note the dados cut in the boards to go over the glue lines to prevent unintentionally gluing these boards to the panels themselves. So now for the intriguing and fun part of building this box. To get to a continuous flowing inlay around the completed box, I did a couple of things. First, I started with the side panels being full height, including the top. I cut the top section off the box after I had assembled it. Next, I selected and marked each board as to its position, right side, left side, front, and back. In the dovetail jig setup, I positioned the pins in the tails, marking them on the sides, so that I had a good cut point for the top. Laying the side pieces end to end as if unfolding the box, I marked the start and finish points for the inlay. I positioned the start and the finish points to fall in the middle of a pin or a tail. The process of installing the inlay is done in 4 basic steps. First is cutting a shallow groove, the width and shape of the desired inlay. I used an MDF template, a collar on the router with a 1/4 inch bit. The second step is to cut the board apart using a skill saw or bandsaw following the middle or close to the middle of the groove, not touching the routed edges. The third step is to clean up the cut edge using a trim bit following the smooth routed edge developed in step 1. The fourth step is to glue in the inlay slats. I used 2 walnut slats, 1/8 inch each, separated by a piece of glue-on veneer for covering plywood edges. I removed the heat-activated glue first with an iron and putty knife. As you can see, the inlay material is thicker than the boards being glued. This assures adequate protrusion of the inlay material along the whole board and a good finish. Gluing inlays like this is tedious and not the cleanest of glue jobs. I usually allow a good 1/4 to 1/2 inch on both ends for cleanup and to compensate for slippage of the 2 halves. As much as you try, there will be slippage and misalignment. To match the inlays at the corners, the glue up of the inlays needs to be near perfect. Taking a very small and equal amount off both ends of all side pieces gives you a pretty good chance of getting alignment of the inlays. I follow the same process on all 4 sides and twice on the top. To trim off the excess inlay material, I used a plane and some rough sanding. After smoothing off the faces of the sides and trimming the ends, I was ready for cutting the dovetail joints. The bottom joint consists of a 1/4 inch dado placed a 1/4 inch up from the bottom along the sides. The bottom is a 1/2 inch thick, so by putting a 1/4 by 1/2 inch rabbet along the bottom perimeter, a 1/4 inch tab results to fit in the 1/4 inch dado along the sides. This joint provides for a good, clean joint as viewed from the inside, and with a 1/2 inch rabbet, the depth of the dado is not that critical. You do not want the dado to be bottomed out when assembling because that will prevent a good tight corner joint. The front bottle support mechanism consists of 2 main members. One is to cradle the bottles when the lid is down, and the other lifts the bottles up when the lid is opened. There is also a support in the bottom of the box to cradle the main part of the bottles. The cradle that sits in the bottom of the box was cut out on the bandsaw and cleaned up with the drum sander before finished sanding. The lifting and supporting cradles for the bottlenecks were made as one piece and then split into two at the table saw. I chose to screw the lifting mechanism into the box top in lieu of gluing it in so that I could reposition it if I needed to. A few final notes. I finished the pieces prior to assembly to make sure I got a good even finish on the inside. The round accent notes on the sides and the top are tapered walnut plugs cut from the same stock as the inlays.